Major League Baseball players are provided one of the greatest healthcare and benefits package in the entire world. Yet, it's flooded with uncertainty. Most players don't even know how it works. And if you go online, half the information isn't right. Hey everyone, I'm Jacob Turner, former Major League Baseball player and current co-founder of Moment Private Wealth. In today's video, I'm going to break down everything you need to know about the MLB Benefits Plan package. To start, we need to understand how a player is even eligible to become eligible for benefits. And the first step is understanding service time. So when I say service time, what I mean is that means a player is on the active roster. They're on the active roster. You could see them in a major league game. To get on the active roster, you have to first get on what's called the 40-man roster. This is 40 players that are eligible to be called up or activated onto the active roster at any time. When you get on the 40-man roster, you then can get called up to the big leagues. And that means you can start accruing service time. So let's talk a little bit about service time and why it's so important. When you start collecting service time, you start accruing a lot of these benefits. The first real hurdle for players is getting to 43 days of service time. And the reason why 43 days is so important is this is 1/4 of a Major League Baseball season. Typically, there's about 172 service time days in a year, which means that if you get to 43 days of service time, it's about 1/4 of a year. At 43 days of service time, a player starts being eligible for pension benefits, which we're going to talk about in a minute. They start being eligible for 401k contributions, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. The second level is getting to 4 years of service time. When you get to 4 years of service time, players reach a plateau where they're able to get healthcare benefits after they're done playing. We're going to talk about the healthcare plan and what it looks like, what guys need to be thinking about, but understand that for guys to be eligible when they're done playing, they have to have reached 4 years of MLB service time. After that, really the biggest hurdle is 10 years. At 10 years, a player is eligible for full pension. We're going to talk through all the details of the MLB pension later in this video, but understand that for a player to be eligible for full pension, it's not one day that you get to the big leagues, which you might see online. You actually have to have 10 years of accrued service time. That means 10 years on the active roster to get full pension benefits. Now that we understand service time, let's talk about the 3 major benefits that are part of the MLB Benefits Plan package. The first one is the 401k. So when a player gets to the big leagues, they're eligible for the MLB 401k plan package. This is distributed through Vanguard. And what this does is it gives players access to contributions. So players can make pre-tax and post-tax contributions, but it also allows them to potentially be eligible for team contributions. So as you can see here, this is a 2023 example. But if a player had 43 days of service time in 2023, they were eligible for $10,000 of contribution coming from the team. Now, this comes based on what the luxury tax spending was the previous year. But based on that, for 2023, every player that got at least 43 days of service time got a $10,000 contribution from their team. This maxed out at 4 quarters or $40,000 for the year. That means that the player could make a contribution of $22,500 pre-tax and $3,500 post-tax to fully max out their 401k if they chose to. This is a massive benefit because essentially the team is giving players that have been in the big leagues for the entire 2023 season $40,000 extra on top of their salary that's going directly to their retirement accounts. The second huge benefit for players with the MLB Benefits Plan package is the pension. The pension is incredible for Major League Baseball players. And here's how it works. We have to go back to service time to understand the pension. The pension kicks in at 43 days of MLB service time for a player, or 1/4 of one season. After a player has accrued 43 days of service time, or 1/4 of one season, they start being eligible for pension benefits. The MLB pension works like this. If a player gets 1 year of service time, they're eligible for $27,500 in pension income every year from age 62 on. So that means that if a player just gets 43 days of service time, they're eligible for more than $6,800 per year at the age of 62 on. The pension maxes out at 10 years of service time. So what that means is for each year that a player accrues service time, they get another $27,500. Or at 10 years of service time, the pension maxes out at $275,000. Full pension can be taken by a player at age 62, but a player can elect to take pension earlier. Now, if they elect to take pension earlier, they can do it from age 45 on, but each year they go earlier, the benefit is a little bit less. So it's not going to be fully the $275,000. And what we try to do is always run calculations to see, does it ever make sense for a guy to do it? And what I will say is, oftentimes it makes sense for players to wait until age 62 to get the full pension benefit. The other thing that is really important to consider with the pension is it goes up with cost of living. So what does that mean? It essentially goes up with inflation. What I mean by that is it's $275,000 in today's dollars. But for most of the athletes that we're working with, by the time they get to 62, it's going to be far greater than $275,000 per year. This is a massive benefit for players, and it goes back to why service time is so important for Major League Baseball players. The third benefit that the MLB benefits plan package provides to players is healthcare benefits. And when I say healthcare benefits, I mean serious benefits. When I had my first daughter and my wife went into labor, I can remember the doctor giving us this rundown of what they thought the estimated costs were going to be. And you know what we ended up paying? $200 total. The healthcare plan for Major League Baseball players when they're on the active roster is incredible. And the biggest benefit is, as an active player, you don't pay any of those premiums. Now, if you're a former player, there's an opportunity based on how much service time you have to stay on that healthcare plan. And this is a huge decision for players as they move towards retirement because it can be a very big benefit done correctly. The key is understanding service time. In order to stay on the MLB Healthcare plan, you must accrue 4 years of MLB service time. If you do that, you have the option to stay on the healthcare plan. And what it looks like is this. There's 3 options you can choose from. There's the base model. There's the active plan, which is what the active players are on. This is the buy up plan. And then there's a buy down plan. Each one of these plans has different premiums, and they also have a little bit different coverages. Now, they're all 3 good in their own right, but it's really important for players to understand what is the cost benefit of each one of these plans. For me personally, I use the buy down plan. The reason for that being is the premium's a lot lower and it's kind of a pay as you go model. It also allows me to contribute to some tax advantage accounts like a health savings account to get further tax benefits. The key thing to understand here is the MLB healthcare plan is a massive benefit for players, especially those that accrue 4 years of service time. It gives them this optionality to stay on the plan. The one other thing that I always tell players to consider, though, is if you ever get off the plan for any scenario in a given year, you can't get back on the plan unless you get back to the big leagues. So let's use a hypothetical example. You're in the big leagues, you get sent to the minor leagues. The next year, you don't ever make it back to the big leagues. You have the optionality to stay on the plan because you have more than 4 years of service time. If you don't choose to stay on it right then and there, you can never get access to it again unless you get back to the active roster in the big leagues. I say this all the time, but the holy grail for Major League Baseball players is service time. And while we all see the massive salaries that are out there, and I don't want to discount them, they're huge. From the minimum salary being $700,000 plus to guys making $20+ million a year, they're huge. But let's not forget the fact that some of the MLB benefits that come through the benefits plan program are huge as well. The key for professional baseball players is to understand this. The benefits are there, but you need to make sure that you have a qualified team around you that's helping you navigate the pros, the cons, the things to think about, the documents to sign, what to sign up for, what box to check. And that's what we always do for our athletes at Moment Private Wealth. We want to make sure our athletes are educated around what their options are and that they're making the best decisions for them. So if you're a professional baseball player and you're looking to better understand your MLB benefits plan package, click the link in my bio. You can find an intro call there to schedule with our team. If you like these sort of videos, make sure you like and subscribe.